Hello, welcome back to another Top 10. This is the Top 10 series that DC should revive or continue. Okay? No honorable mentions. Now, this is the only one that should continue because for some reason it's abruptly ending and it's not part of the DC relaunch for some strange reason. I don't know why, it just isn't. And that series is Catwoman. This is number 10 on my list. I don't see why this series shouldn't continue. I would think that the series has improved with via sales wise. Ever when Giovanni Valentine when she took over the book, and I know the book is written by Frank Till, whose run is only 6 issues long. The run is not terrible. It's actually a pretty good run. I wouldn't mind if you just stay on the book like how Dan Abbott is still on Aquaman. I wouldn't mind if he stayed on the book. Heck, I wouldn't mind if Brubaker came back to the book because he had an awesome run with the book, and you can kind of see this sort of like a rebooted version of his book. He actually can bring in some characters that were featured in his run, like you could bring in Slim Brady's, you could bring in the PI Slim Brady, bring in his son Slim Brady Jr., stuff like that. Yeah. I don't see why this series should end. There's no reason why it should, because Catwoman's featured in an ongoing series since 1983. So pretty much for the past 23 years, she's had an ongoing series in some way, shape, or form. The only time she did it was after the conclusion of was like not long after the events of Officer Down. White Hat was ended for about a year before she was featured in a one-shot, and of course she got an ongoing series again. But Catwoman is definitely a series should continue because there's no reason why it should end. I mean, the title's been great for the past, I don't know, how about the past, 14 issues? Yeah, the past 14 issues have been really good for this title. As a matter of fact, Convergence didn't hurt the title at all like some other titles did. This title has just been really good. And I do recommend this series should continue. Alright, number 9 is Azrael. Why now everything else is status right. Now why Azrael? Well, simply because they got John Paul Valley's back, and I figured why not bring back his comic? There's no reason why you can't bring back this comic. I mean, yes, the last Azrael comic was canceled 18 issues, but I don't blame Fabian Nicieza for it because the guy is a good writer, and the last Azrael book was pretty interesting. I think maybe the reason why it was canceled was because, probably for the low sales, probably because it wasn't John Paul Valley, it was Michael Lane. Now, Michael Lane is kind of in this continuity, but the guy's only appeared a couple times. I'm not kidding. He appeared like in an issue of first issue of Batwoman, and he appeared in an issue of Batman Inc. That's it. Now, I'm happy the fact John Paul Valley did show up in Batman Robin Eternal because, for one thing, DC at least kept this guy dead for a long period of time. They didn't bring him back automatically after he had already been killed. I mean, it had not been 3 years since he died. When he came back last year in Batman Robin Eternal, it had been 12 years since his death. I was surprised to see the guy. And the guy's been interesting. I love how Scott Snyder has written him. I wouldn't mind if Scott Snyder would write his ongoing series. Heck, I would love it if Danny O'Neill himself would write the series again. Maybe for just the first few issues and have some different writer to do the rest of the run. But at least allow him to actually do some writing for the series. I mean, he did create the character. I don't see why not. I mean, I recently finished reading the Azrael ongoing series, the original one, and it was awesome. Awesome 100 issues, great development for the character, and I don't see why I see the series coming back is a possibility because the character was brought back. I mean, yeah, some people are familiar with the character, and I know the character is going to be featured on Gotham soon, so I figured, why not have the series around when he comes on. When he makes his first live action appearance. And plus, you can use the current design. The design looks great. It's very reminiscent of the original design the Joker started came back in 1993. Okay. Alright, moving on. Number 8 is Justice League United. Now, this series had been canceled just a few months ago. My honest opinion, the reason why the series got canceled because no one liked changing the direction of the series. People love the original direction of the series, where you have a group of mostly mixed between A and B list characters, basically doing some kind of space stuff like that. It was a really interesting book. When the book first started, it basically had sort of a Hellboy-ish style artwork. And of course became a space opera. I mean, the book was great under the original writer's run. Then, of course, when Jeff Parker, I had nothing against Jeff Parker, the guy's a good writer, but having it where the characters were on for temporary purposes, why not continue with the original team? It just built up on that. I mean, the group itself is still around. I don't see why this series should not exist. I was just to bring the series back. Just have the same roster you had before, and just try not to use the same concept that Jeff Parker used. The final issue did kind of restore that concept. Yeah, but who would I have to write it? For Justice League, I could just Jeff Lemire, but no, because the guy has an exclusive contract with Marvel. I don't know. You can please list in the comments below who would you like to see write Justice League United, because, well, Jeff Lemire can't do it because he's got a exclusive contract with Marvel, and I highly doubt DC, how anybody would like to see Jeff Parker's name on the book again. But the artwork was actually pretty good. I mean, you could probably bring back the original artist. I don't see why he can't come back. Yeah. Alright. Number 7, Shadowpact. I mean, if you don't want to have Justice League Dark come back, bring back Shadowpact. It's a group of supernatural characters doing supernatural things. I don't see why the series can't come back. I mean, I haven't finished reading the series itself, but it's an interesting idea. You gotta at least do something with the supernatural characters of DC Universe, not just put them to the side, not talk about them, and have like a few supernatural-based series like Hellblazer, or in the case of Swamp Thing, because he's going to appear in the book. But I would recommend definitely Shadowpact come back, because it's an interesting concept of the team. I mean, a group of supernatural characters solving supernatural crimes, and mix a little bit there with Justice League Dark, with them being associated with Argus, and you have a great team. I don't know who would write it because I didn't finish reading the Shadowpact series, but I do recommend bringing back the Shadowpact series. Alright. Number 6, Superboy. Now, the thing is, Connell is currently missing. I mean, not missing as he has not shown up in the current continuity. I mean missing because the guy has not been seen for barely a year, ever since he disappeared in issue 12. I mean, he had come back to Teen Titans in the current volume, but he abruptly left 4 issues after he came back because the writers didn't know what to do with him. And quite possibly one of the worst story arcs I've ever seen. Artwork-wise, it was actually really good. It's just that the writing was just really bad. But I would definitely recommend bringing the series back. I mean, would I have Connell be in the series? Well, if I can't use him, well, I know there is a Super Son series coming up, but there's no reason why there can't be a Superboy series starring Connell. Just find him, fix whatever was wrong with him, and just have an ongoing series. I could have Scott Lobdell write it. I mean, I would recommend maybe Scott Lobdell write the series again, because he did do a good job writing the character. Because here's the thing, this Superboy book was actually good under his writing. Oh yeah, it was very good under his, when he was writing the book. I don't see why not. He can't come back to the book. I mean, yes, people don't like Scott Lobdell that much because he did with Teen Titans and Red Hood and the Outlaws. But as far as I know, he's only writing one book, and that's Red Hood and the Outlaws. I can't see why he can't write Superboy, especially since he did a pretty good job with the book. And make sure it's Connell, not John Lane Kent. Alright. Number 5, Robin. Well, I put this on this list simply because, well, with the cancellation of Robin Son of Batman, you need a type of Robin solo series. because there's always been a type of one like this since the early 90s. Who would I have be the start of this series? Well, with Damian going over Teen Titans, I was just maybe Tim Drake giving him back an ongoing series again. I mean, you can kind of have him either as Robin or, well, I would probably keep him as Red Robin, but just make an ongoing series of Robin. Just do something with it. Just don't let's just give it to Damian. The Damian comic has been really good. I've been enjoying it. But it's sad to see the book going. But I do recommend making a Robin solo title again. But I would definitely not put Dick Grayson back in the book, no. Maybe you could just have it explore his during his time as Robin. That would be interesting. You can also have it where you can explore Jason Todd's time as Robin in the current continuity. And Tim Drake's tenure as Robin. Hey, you can basically have sort of like a flashback book, simply just detail and bring stuff from the previous continuity into this one. Why not? Who would have write it? Maybe Chuck Dixon again. Excuse me. After all, he did start the original title, so why not? Number 4 is The Question. Now, this particular character has been seen on and off the past few years, but his appearance has been very minimal at best. And the thing is, somebody, I'm not sure who wrote it, that he was put part of the Trinity of Sin, a group of supernatural characters who apparently are kind of responsible for unleashing the 7 deadly sins of men, which is made up of Pandora, a character who's not been seen since the end of our ongoing series, the Phantom Stranger, and The Question. Now, Pandora and Phantom Stranger, that's fine. Supernatural-based characters. But The Question is a supernatural character? Really? I don't think even Steve Ditko would be happy that one of his creations is basically turned into a supernatural character for no explained reason. I mean, I like the fact he's based out of Hub City, but just have Danny O'Neill or some other writer just retcon the supernatural stuff. Just have him be Vic Sage again and just get rid of the other Vic Sage character that was in New Suicide Squad. Yeah, you can probably say that Vic Sage was the guy who was basically stole his identity, and he was just not the real Vic Sage. I didn't care for the character. The guy was annoying. I mean, I was so happy to see him go away after the end of Sean Ryan's run. I don't know why Sean Ryan put him in the book, but he probably needs to think. But here's the thing: people reading a book, people probably didn't like the character at all. I'm glad he got rid of him at the end of his run. But yeah. And make sure that he actually can find a way to take off that mask and actually show his face. Something he's not been able to do the past few years. Yeah. But I definitely recommend it. I mean, if Danny O'Neill is not available, I would have to maybe Tom Bench do it. I can't think of anybody else. Maybe James Mathis. Alright. Number 3 is Manhunter. Which one? Now, Manhunter, you were thinking Martian Manhunter? No, Manhunter. Complete different character. Some people have gotten this character confused as Martian Manhunter for years. Now, there have been several different ones. Now, 2 of the people who helped this identity of Manhunter do exist in the current continuity. Mark Shaw and Kate Spencer. Mark Shaw was only featured in the Cheetah one-shot. I wouldn't mind if he came back. And, of course, there's also Kate Spencer, who was just featured in the second half of the Gotham at Midnight series. Who would I have as the Manhunter? Mark Shaw, because he's an interesting character. Kate Spencer, I think that probably because she's a lawyer. I wouldn't mind if she did. You could probably have 2 Manhunters at the same time. It just depends on what DC wants to do. Who would I have write it? Os Ritter, the guy did a fantastic job with the original title. Why not? Yep. Artists, I would probably have. Maybe one of the Birds of Prey artists over the years. I would have one of them to do because she was featured in Birds of Prey. Alright. Number 2, in this one, where some people know me, I really want this series to come back because this series has not been published by DC Comics for the past 5 years. And it's a great series. The Outsiders. Now, most of the founding members, pretty much just about all of them, except for like 1, have showed up in the current continuity. How do I know that? Now, some are thinking, oh, the Outsiders can't form because Metamorpho hasn't shown up yet. Well, he has in Legends of Tomorrow. They finally brought him in. And in the Katana half of the Suicide Squad Most Wanted series, Geoforce has shown up. Yep, Geoforce, though he's not having his costume, but it's Geoforce. Yep. I do highly recommend bringing the series back. Who would have read it? Maybe PJ Tomasi could do. He's not doing any much. I mean, upcoming wise, I mean, the only book he's doing is just Superman. I mean, you could do Superman and the Outsiders. Why not? You can have Batman form the Outsiders. I mean, you can have the founding lineup. You could just replace Halo, who has not shown up in the current continuity. You could replace her with Looker, who has shown up. Now, Looker was the first first person to join the Outsiders after they first formed, and you could just replace her with you could have Halo replace her with Looker, and I feel as though this series should come back. Almost all the characters are there. I mean, for group series wise, the only group series that are there are just Justice League, Birds of Prey, and Teen Titans. Oh, and Titans, and that's it. I mean, you can have those series. You also can have the Outsiders as well. I mean, there's no reason why these characters should not be a team, or at least this team. There's no reason why this team should not be around. I mean, it's a great group of characters. Heck, you can even have Mike W. Burr come back and do the series again. After all, he did create this team, so why not? Who would have to do the artwork? Maybe one of the artists who did the previous volume of The Outsiders. Yeah, I would have whoever did that do the artwork, because the artwork's pretty good in that series. My number one is kind of a tie, because these characters are featured on Legends of Tomorrow, and I keep thinking, though, why don't these guys have an ongoing series? And this is the Atom and Firestorm. Now, I know Firestorm is being featured in Legends of Tomorrow, but how about giving an ongoing series? I mean, these upcomings only have about 20 titles, so it wouldn't hurt to squeeze some more out. So, I definitely recommend Firestorm. Who would have write it? Jerry Conway. The guy's writing it right now, so why not have him continue writing the series? As for the Atom, well, it's just Ray Palmer featuring the continuity. I could have Gail Simone write the series. After all, she did write the All New Atom series. But I could also recommend, trying to think what was his name. It's not Chuck Dixon, no. Maybe Rick Remender. Rick Remender did a very good chunk of the All New Atom series, so it wouldn't hurt to have him write it. Or heck, maybe Dan Abnett could write it, even though he's writing 2 other titles. You can pick anybody you want. Just be sure to list in the comments below who would you want. But otherwise, though, that's it. I'll probably do our top 10 soon. But put down in the comments below what top 10 series should DC, in your honest opinion, people watching this video, who DC should continue or revive. But until then, until the next video, I'll see you there. Bye.